Barry?
No, I have not heard anything from Fred.
Okay. All right. I am going to call this meeting to order. Are you all set, Mary?
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody, for joining us this evening on Thursday, April 21st, 2022. This is the Webster Conservation Commission meeting called to order at 5:31. Thanks for joining us. I'm Joey Wigglesworth, the chairman. And before we begin, I'm going to read an excerpt from the Governor Baker's office. Pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12th, 2020 order superseding certain provisions of the Open Meeting Law, GLC 30A, Section 18, and the Governor's June 16th, 2021 Act relative to extending certain COVID-19 measures adopted during the state of emergency, this meeting of the Webster Conservation Commission will be conducted via remote participation to the greatest extent possible. The board will record the meeting for the purposes of note-taking. Anyone wishing to record the meeting for personal use must notify the chairman in advance, and that would be me, Joey Wigglesworth. And you can let me know if you choose to record. And once again, welcome to our meeting. So I'm going to first item up here, meeting minutes for approval of April 4th, 2022. Commissioners, any discussion on the meeting minutes of April 4th, 2022? Hearing no discussion, do we have a motion to approve those meeting minutes as written?
I approve the minutes as written.
Okay, so let's Robin with the first. Do we have a second? I will second the, Mary, can pull the board, please.
Ms. Cirillo,
Yes.
Dr. Jewel,
Yes.
Ms. Johnson, Clarissa, you're muted. All right, Mr. Wigglesworth,
Yes. And Clarissa, could you please unmute?
yeah, maybe she's not paying attention or whatever.
I'm gonna make a motion.
I think it's okay. We have 3 out of 4.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, so let's move on. Clarissa, if you're having an issue with audio, just give a yay or a nay on the meeting minutes in the chat from Mary, please. So moving on to requests for determination of applicability. These are also known as RDAs. First up, we've got 49 Arkwright Road and 30 Worcester Road. This is EBT Environmental Consultants, restoration of historic gradient and flow of Millbrook Road. This is Glenn Kravosky. Do we have Mr. Kravosky on the line?
Yes.
Glenn, how are you?
It's a good day. Thank you. And I hope you're
Great.
fine too, and the rest of the board. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so we're looking for an update on 49 Arkwright Road.
Yes, Millbrook. Thank you.
Yeah,
I sent in today other exhibit to the environmental monitor, and it finds the last exhibit I'm putting together. It's the Pontiac Road erosion that's creating the delta, upgrading of the old railroad stone bridge. And also that the other exhibit that I put together was the shutting off of the water from the lake. And the latest one was discussed in August, to be August 1st, actually, of 21, when the water was shut completely off after all our heavy rains of July of 21. And so what I'm explaining to the state, my 88 cubic yards coming out, they want to know if there's any significant harm that might do under ecological restoration. And what I'm highlighting is that the shutting off completely of the water from the lake and then opening it up halfway or all the way, that's one example. And then the amount of sediment coming off Pontiac as the town grades that Pontiac, it shows flow paths. They grade it level, the DPW, and then when it rains heavily, that all ends up down by into the sewer station, into the brook, creating a delta, which I took a great, and I believe that was 8/1/20 picture, and it shows that my effect on the brook will be insignificant, but the effect on the brook, Millbrook, from those two examples that I gave you are much more significant. In fact, highly significant as far as impact to the brook, as Fish and Wildlife also said when we electroshocked the brook a couple years ago. So I'm done with my exhibits, and now I just have to send the last of this up to DEP and the environmental monitor for them to give me to approve it, and then I can come back to the commission with the application. And this all goes there because it's filed under environmental restoration, required to go this route. So now that I finished that last exhibit, and I would hope that the whole commission takes a look at this and sees what is going on with Millbrook and maybe addresses with Mr. Pizzetti the stabilization of I believe it's called Pontiac, at the end of Arkwright, at the end of several roads where this is a constant gully erosion creator. And then we just fill it in and level it until the next major storm comes. It's an ongoing for 5 years, I wrote in my photo exhibit, a problem. So please review the photo exhibit. We'll be wrapping up now on the application to environmental monitor and DEP.
Fantastic. All right.
Glenn, what specifically do you want Kenny to take care of?
I thought I explained it fairly well.
Okay.
I think the photo exhibit explains it very well. I can put together more because I've gone out there over the last couple of years, even before the solar farm was done. But what should he take care of? Well, instead of fixing the gully erosion, putting dirt in it, and waiting for the next storm event to occur, to then flush it into the Millbrook through that driveway that goes to the sewer pump station, then waiting for the next storm event, gully erosion, fill it in again. It's actually, could I use the word ridiculous? And so what would have to be done is put something in that road, whether it's paved or crushed or larger stone, but clearly just this smaller gravel. If you look at the exhibit with the aerial flyover, you see the roads coming into these tarred roads. So when it rains heavy, that's the place. This dirt road is where it connects these roads on the eastern end of the roads, Arkwright and the one up gradient, the tarred ones. And so we're just constantly just flushing that into the brook. Take a look at the delta. It's very easy to see. In fact, when you take a look at the picture, look at the lower left, you see that's where the flow comes in from that driveway that goes to the sewer pump station on Arkwright. So this is constant sedimentation into Millbrook, creating the delta. And then when the water flows heavily out of West Lake, it then flushes that down. So that's what.
Who's that?
I'm always available for.
Oh my God.
All right. Commissioners, any other questions or any kind of feedback to Glenn on this really interesting project and presentation, and definitely an upgrade to that historic Millbrook area And it'll be a wonderful project and case study once it's done.
So are we
if I could-
contacting the
I-
highway department? Is that any request larger stone in that area? I don't mind doing that because I find Kenny very approachable.
Well, I guess, his work is not through the chairman. The town DPW, if not directly, Kenny knows what's going on because it's just I go there and watch it slow down and see the delta at the intersection of Arkwright and the Pontiac, and then it settles there. There's a low point, and then from that low point, which we have photos of that, the fines being there, and then from there, there's a gully erosion on the left-hand side of the driveway going to Millbrook that accesses the sewer pump station. So this is just a constant problem. And yes, it would either take tarring or larger stone, but clearly just bank gravel is not staying there. The volume of water that dirt road receives is, depending on the storm, 1 inch. In fact, I'm sure from this last 1 inch we had, it's exasperated again. So what every time 1 inch, 1.5, 2, doesn't matter. It keeps developing a gully erosion, keeps being filled in, and that's just an ongoing issue. So it does need to be addressed at some point. I brought this up prior to and during the Tony Leo issue when we were permitting that also.
Okay. Well, thank you for that update, Glenn. I think it's probably prudent at this point that we formally do another continuance to an extended date. Do you want to pick something closer to August or something like that? What are you thinking?
I'm thinking to do the project in July or August. So I would thank you for
Okay.
asking, and I appreciate you do that. And I would ask that we get an extension for minimum 2 months.
Okay,
Well, I would ask for 2 months out, and
Okay.
that'll give them monitor time, because I will wrap it up now that I've finished this other exhibit. I only had 2 exhibits I wanted to explain to DEP and to the state about what the issues are with Millbrook. And my insignificant project, as I see it, is as I just stated, insignificant compared to what the brook does receive as far as problems with shutting off and fully opening the brook, and again, receiving sediment that's not being addressed.
So Glenn, we have 2 June meeting dates, the 6th on Monday and the 23rd on Thursday. Are either of those good for you?
I would ask, I appreciate it, the 6th, because I might be in the Sierra Nevadas on the end of the month. I'm back up there again.
Okay.
Right.
Writing it down. 6/6/2022, WCC. I appreciate that. I will put all effort in completing the Boston, the environmental monitor, so that I can hopefully wrap this up on that day. Thank you.
all right, fantastic. So with that, let me just call on the board. Can I get a motion of continuance for 49 Arkwright Road and 30 Worcester Road, EBT Environmental Consultants to 6/6/22, please?
I'll make the.
I-
All right,
no,
Michelle? Michelle with the first, Robin with the second. Is that how we want to go?
Yeah, it's fine.
All right, Ms. Cirillo,
Yes.
Dr. Jewel,
Yes, fantastic project, Glenn. Real great environmental work.
Thank you. If I could have one moment, and I know that I might be, I have a violation in Orange. I'm going to be on the line at 6 o'clock. We have 15 minutes. And I don't want to miss this 56 Worcester Road because I just left there. The client is on the line.
Yep, we've got you on the next 2. We're gonna run through you real quick, Glenn, and then we're gonna get
Okay.
to the next one. So we're gonna,
let's finish the vote here, though. Ms. Johnson?
I'm sorry. Sorry about that.
okay,
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Clarissa. Mr. Wigglesworth?
yes.
Okay.
All right, okay, so that takes care of that one. All right, so 115 South Shore Road, Glen, informal discussion on cleaning organic material out of the inlet.
I don't believe that's me.
Was
Where
that
is
someone
that?
else, Mary?
Glenn, that's the one that you talked about.
I'm sorry, Miss Carol Barrett?
Yeah,
Right. I think if the commission had, well, I'm sure you have inspections coming up. I would like to review that with you in the field. One time, we did have a disconnect. She changed her email address. So when I was working on this in the spring of last year and looking at it, and then she moved positions and the email changed and I tried to reach her 5 separate times. I thought she just didn't want to do it anymore. Then I found out that I finally called her again and I found out the right email. So in the meantime, though, she contacted the Conservation Commission and apparently you had a site inspection. And all I would ask is that whatever your next inspections are, if you can fit it in, I would like to walk that site with you.
That sounds appropriate. For reference, Commission, this is next door to another project we looked at, Dr. Canor. All right, so Mary, if you can just put that on our site visit list for the future.
yeah.
That would be wonderful. All right, and then lastly, Glenn, so we can move this along, 56
Right,
Worcester Road.
Thank you. On this violation, the gentleman is online. I have talked to the contractor that did the work. I believe he's out of Holliston. I have his name here. Chris Clancy is the gentleman. That's not the company name, but so as the commission might have been up there to look at it, and I just was flagging it before I came into this meeting.
Okay.
I'm 14 flags from north to south, came to where the fill is actually in the wetland for 30 or 40 feet, and then we get that sediment that came off if you've been up there on the southeastern side of the pile near the loom. We're going to make recommendations. I had talked to the gentleman, Chris Lindstrom, earlier today, and I'm going to make a recommendation immediately to him. And I took a tape measure out before I left to get S&M Farms out there to lay out 250 feet, that's plus or minus as it was taped, of erosion controls at the toe of the slope, because we're going to need them as we eventually move forward. We have existing grades coming out to pick up my wetland flags, pick up the everything within 100 feet, and show the flags, show the toe of the slope of the fill, erosion controls, and all this good stuff in order for us to work to restore the wetland and potentially with some site inspection to move the toe of the slope back, whether it be, and Mary says, I don't know, I did put in my email 10 feet, but the commission might want it 20 feet. They might want it something. We want to get the plan together first and then get the plan in front of you, have the erosion controls in place so that it's no more sediment is going in, and then work this towards eventual restoration. And that would mean both the wetland, unfortunately, it is quite a bit of phragmites in there, but restoration of the wetland would take all sediments out, and then restoration of a portion of the buffer zone. I'm not sure what the slope looked like. Maybe by the time we get 10 feet in or 20, we start rising up the slope, but there's some trees left that are filled around, and we'd be removing everything down to the original O horizon, or should I say, in that case, it would be A horizon, and then planting the portion of the buffer zone that the commission requires of us, and the rest of it we would, if there's still fill rock on the slope, we would then come up with something like a 2-to-1 or 2.5-to-1 slope after we removed all fill to a certain distance back from the wetland, and then the rest might come up with an armored slope, which we could call that rock armored slope. Stabilize the top of the slope so that we don't have erosion going back down there again. And eventually the client would, or I think his children are going to take over the property. But what we want to do is get it stabilized and restored.
Okay.
And we'll have draft plan for you. According to existing grades, he will be out there midweek, so I should have something by the end of the week for the commission.
All right,
And we'll keep you in.
I think it'd be
so-
nice, Glenn, if we could do a site just for the commission to just
I'm
take
ready,
a look.
I'm ready for you. When
Yeah,
you
take a
want it.
site walk on this one too with you. Just now that everything is starting to come into budding and in season, we can get a full view of it.
Thank you.
All right,
Yes,
sounds
did I
sounds good.
talk to Mary to set that up, or Mary might call, I'll call her tomorrow, and maybe you'll have a time or for this
Yeah.
meeting, you'll.
Yeah, Mary can set that up with you. Mary, you're in on Thursday?
Today is Thursday.
Oh, today is Thursday. I'm sorry. I'm used to Mondays.
No, I'll be in on Monday, Glenn, and I think we're gonna do our next site visit will be the 30th. So you can count on that, and we'll get you a time later.
30th, I have it, 4:30 inspection, and we'll get a time. And briefly, I have to run, but I do want to say that on the
Oh,
casino, all the material is removed from the wetland. We did it not the Saturday that passed, the Saturday prior to that. I think it's sticker shock for the gentleman on how much came out of there, back to the original stone wall that was built, and we'll get some photos and we'll keep you abreast on that. Thank you again.
Great. Thank you, Glenn, so much for your work. Thanks. We appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Good day now.
All right, thank you. All right, so commissioners, we need to, we should, because this is an enforcement order, we should formally do a continuance on this for discussion at our next meeting on May 5th. And by then we'll have a site visit by then. So can I get a motion of continuance of 56 Worcester Road to Monday, May 5th, 2022?
I'll make that motion to continue 56 Worcester Road to May 5th.
Okay, thank you, Michelle.
I second.
Second.
Right, thank you, Robin. And thank you, Clarissa.
All right, Ms. Sherillo,
Yes.
Dr. Jewel,
Yes.
Ms. Johnson,
Yes.
Mr. Wigglesworth.
Yes. Right. So, all right, so that's, those are the public hearings. I am so sorry that I missed it. I skipped over by accident 4 Black Point Road, Donna and David Dunn. My apologies. You were the RDA, so do we have Donna and David?
Yes.
Yes, can you hear us?
Yes, how are you folks? It's been a little
Okay.
while.
It's been a while. It's been almost a year for
I
us to
know,
be
I know.
here.
How are things coming along?
Well, they've started to improve. We
Great.
had a lot of problems, as you might remember from the last time you were here. But
Yes,
in any event, we've had a little bit of drainage put in on our driveway side just the last few days.
okay,
And the hill that goes down to the backyard that was taking the runoff from the front of the house,
I remember.
trenching, that just put sod in yesterday.
Okay,
So I have some grass. It's amazing.
well, hopefully that actual material on top of that construction fill, it will grab hold and absorb a lot of the water.
There's still a fair amount of that fill at the bottom of this that he does, if I understood him correctly, anticipates removing that and filling with some loam and then reseeding the rest of it. So I
Okay.
think we're moving along. I think that's great. So my reason for asking for this determination was that because I was the first house built
Yes,
and they only had half of the width of the house as a back deck,
okay,
it left me without any stairs. And,
Okay.
I'm sorry. It left me without any egress from the back of the house
yes,
to the yard. Yeah,
Okay.
from the back of the house. So, but the remaining homes, they decided to go ahead and actually do all that. So because I went to the building department, of course, they referred me back to you people to see if it's okay, because it's within the 100-foot area.
Okay,
So my intention is to ask for permission to finish my back deck so that you have photos, Mary has the photos. It's 12 foot wide by 14 feet, which makes it 12 by 28 feet long, like the
so
other
just
home,
just coming across the back of the house,
Yes.
correct?
And
And to
then-
the,
and then the stairs coming down the side of the house or coming
Yes,
towards the
yes.
back of the house?
No,
I mean,
we
towards
don't
the
have enough
backyard.
room, so we have to come toward the street.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which
right.
that was if I remember, that was sort of a degraded area anyway, so
Right.
that might not be a bad
bad idea.
idea.
And
Okay,
then if the grade permits at that point, if it's still too steep, we'll just put in a couple of stone steps that would get us up to the top.
Okay.
But I can't tell that right now because
Mhm.
I don't have the exact drawing, and I know I couldn't even get anybody here to do it because they said, get your building permit, and I couldn't get the building permit until I spoke to you.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, because it's in our jurisdiction. Yeah.
yes.
Okay.
So that was my first thing. Now, that leaves me with under the deck.
Okay.
There are two walkout doors,
Okay.
and I wanted to put patio block underneath the deck, just to, I don't really care for crushed stone or sod or anything under there. I'd like to be able to put seating and what have you.
All right. So like the little 6x6 squares that have.
Yeah,
Okay.
they're on the front sides of the homes here. They've already
Okay.
put the little
Yes,
walkways
yes,
in.
I remember. Okay. Do you remember if they were impervious where water doesn't go through them or pervious?
The water drains through them.
Okay, all right. Are you gonna do the same in the back or?
Yeah, yeah,
All
yeah.
right, because with the water, with the amount of water that comes off the street and comes down through your yard,
Mhm.
I would probably recommend doing the pervious so that the water gets through. And
Yes,
I would recommend that whoever the contractor is, probably do about usually it's 4 inches, but I would probably do about 6 inches of crushed stone with the stone
Under?
dust underneath it. So that
Okay.
water just gets right through,
Okay,
and
Mhm.
right down into the ground.
okay. That is a recommendation I will follow up on for sure.
Yeah. And then, under your stairs, I would probably just recommend just bring some crushed stone underneath there.
Mhm.
Commissioners, any, questions and input on this part of the project? I mean, pretty standard, straightforward. I'm assuming that it's all gonna be hand dug.
I'm sorry, I missed that.
It's all gonna be hand dug.
Yes, that's what they did on the other houses, so,
Okay,
yeah.
yeah, it will.
Mhm.
okay,
So that was the first part of my application.
okay. All right,
Yeah.
so I see you got your shed in.
Yeah, the shed is in. Okay, so if I move on, I also added that, yep, should I speak?
Sure, yeah,
Oh, okay. So now if you remember the back, the next to where the shed is, it drops off fairly significantly if you're just in
Yes.
speakers trying to walk down the hill. So I would like to, my vision was to put, like, they told me it would take about 4 stairs, concrete, not like granite steps with drainage underneath them as they put the step in, as they go down to the lower level, to get to that lower level. My vision is eventually, I don't know if this will happen, but if we ever get to have the 8-foot landing for kayak canoe, we have to get down to that land, down to that lower level to get out there. So in any event, I thought, a few stairs. I don't think it would be more than 4. And I left a construction diagram with Mary to show what they look like and how they put them in, and the drainage underneath them.
Okay,
Excuse me,
so,
Joey, is
yeah.
there any plan that is defining what she's telling us or showing us where it is in relation to the
well,
wetland?
Mary's got, this is about 30, she's about 30 feet from the wetland.
Yeah, I'd
That-
like to apologize. I mean, Donna did hand me some lovely prints, which I thought got onto the website, but they didn't. So Donna had some plans kind of describing what she wanted to do. I do have pictures which kind of shows it. So Donna, I believe the steps were kind of going in this area. And did you want like just 4 or 5? That's what I wasn't,
There were 4 or 5,
Okay.
hopefully 4. I don't want too many. I don't know how to get you people back on, I'm trying to get you back on my screen.
yeah.
Okay, there we are. Okay, I was just looking at a blank screen there for a little while. So yes, if you see where that yellow line is or where your arrow is, that is the approximate area for where we would put the stone stairs. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so she wants the stairs there. That doesn't seem to be a problem.
It's a degraded area that's been taking a lot of water. Karen, you can tell by, see her
Mhm.
stone around her shed, which I was gonna actually mention to Donna that you
Yeah.
really want to kind of make sure that that stone doesn't travel.
Well, that
Um,
was my next question. I don't know if I need to put like some either like a little kind of like a stone wall or something there to keep everything back up.
I mean, you don't need to, I mean, remember, it's your property, and I mean, you can do what you want to it without, I mean, obviously not,
Yeah,
you're
I
in
understand.
you're in an area that is, we obviously have the boundary marker there that,
Mhm.
you can't, obviously take a small excavator back there. But you've got some protected area back there.
Mhm.
But in and around there, what you can do is just go to like Home Depot. And, you can, if you want to do a nice little wall around there, that's up to you, but. you
Oh,
can't
well,
ex-
that's what I thought.
You can't expand. I wouldn't expand it any
No.
further.
No, I
But-
want to push everything back into.
But what you can
the
do
wall.
is you can get those little, they're about 8 inches high,
Mhm.
and there's like scalloped or they're straight, and you can
Oh,
just,
they're like pavers on.
yeah, they're pavers
Almost, yeah.
on their
Yeah.
side,
Yep,
and just
yep,
put them
yep.
in there.
Okay.
And,
Well, if that's, yeah, I would love
they
to do
make them
that.
in plastic too. You can just kind of bang them into
Bang
the
'em in.
ground and it holds,
Mhm.
All right,
holds it back. So,
Okay,
that's a good idea.
yeah,
so,
we can do that for sure.
Um,
Okay, before we go on to the next part of the work, I just want to point something out here. So here's the original project plans. And see, it says up here, P, 5 resource area signs typical. So that's that little square box.
Yep.
And if we go down to Donna's property, there's one here, and that's installed already, okay? And then there's one on the other side. It's actually further up the slope. It's right there. And so what I was trying to show in those pictures is that the whole shed is actually behind. I mean, the intent with these signs was there was supposed to be no disturb beyond the signs. So the whole shed itself is beyond the sign. So we already approved that. So that was our mistake. We should have looked at the plans more carefully. Or at least, that's my impression. So when I was reviewing the other things that Donna wanted to do, though, I tried to measure out where I thought that line should go. So, you can kind of see, here's the tape. So here's the shed, and it goes back this way. You can see it here. So on this side is, area that Donna, I think, can use. This side should really be kind of more natural. I know she was hoping to put like a patio area down here, or not a patio, but like a
Well,
flat
no.
area to have a chair set. But that's, and she did include plans to show that.
So I had some pictures that showed the 4 steps that went down.
Yeah.
And we measured off from, see, Mary measured up in the yard. I measured from the pink flags on the trees at the wetland edge. And I came forward to the house. So as I did that, the sign that's on if you're looking at my house, the sign that's on the left-hand side is 11 feet back from on the property line from the big wall that's back there for the other house next to me. And then I sort of made a semicircle. This was a vision I had, and I knew I had to ask to just put some crushed stone down there to sit a fire pit and some chairs. I'm not looking to fill, dredge, put walls, put a fence, or basically sit down there. We have birds, we have turtles, we have woodchucks, we have whatever else is out there. And that was my vision. And the end of my vision was to plant mountain laurel and pussy willows and sweet pepper bushes around around the area. But in front of where I don't know, I'm using the wrong words, from where the pink flag was to where I wanted to end the stone. So in essence, I'm asking for like a 3-foot area into that buffered zone. And
So
then
what you're looking to do is utilize the area that's degraded and then enhance some of the area that you're sort of,
I just want it to look nice.
you're looking to kind of, it's sort of a give and take.
Yeah.
just another note, this is what it looked like a year ago. So Donna didn't realize this, but she had, or someone's gone in and cleaned there was vegetation back there that's been cleaned out.
Well, we had a huge,
It was a backhoe.
it was I don't know, big backhoe that took out that tree, a
Did
big
he
oak tree.
disturb the area?
I
And
remember,
so
yeah, I
he
remember that.
disturbed the whole area. Yeah,
Yeah,
that
I
was the
remember
tree
that.
there.
Yeah.
So, Mary, can you put up one of the pictures that shows the last one I brought to you today that shows sort of the semicircle area that I'm trying to describe to them?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I guess I didn't communicate very well with Kelly that should go on the
Oh,
website.
that's okay.
It just
Well, you
didn't
do
happen.
have one from
Yeah.
before,
Yeah.
if you still have it with you. It shows the steps, and it actually encompasses a total of about 15 feet left to right, and then about 16 feet back from the bottom of the steps. So I actually would quote encroach on about 3 feet of the buffer zone, if that's what it's called, with crushed stone, just to put a fire pit and maybe a little picnic table or some just chairs to sit around the fire pit. But that's what I was asking for.
Well, seeing how there's a bit more than, just some steps and going in and, there's the gravel that's creeping and whatnot. Does the board feel that you want to take a look at the site, or do you want to, go with, allowing the 3 feet and then just
And then the
pressing-
planting after right on the edge
pressing-
of that, then
pressing
planting.
upon, X amount of plantings have to go in and around, and making
Mhm.
sure that that other sign goes in.
Yeah, and just to comment on the signs, this sign, because as I was measuring things out, I realized this sign is actually not quite right. I think Mike has since moved it it should actually be slightly closer up the hill a little bit. So it's like 3 feet off. So there's,
So I brought you a picture of it today. I
Yes.
know you didn't put it on, but that's the
Yeah.
new home of that sign.
right, so it was up the hill a little. So when I put my tape down, I kind of knew that it was in the wrong spot. So I tried to show, here's the tape going. So anything beyond the tape, which is really this whole area down here, or most of it, this is estimate, is supposedly, no disturb and buffer area.
So if somebody can explain to me, I want, because like I said, I measured from the pink tags forward to the house by 25 feet. I thought that 25 feet was the buffer zone not to be touched.
So Donna, can you see the plan here? Are you on?
I'm number 85. Yeah, I
Yeah, so
see.
you can see that. All right, so this, so here's your house,
Uh-huh.
here's your deck,
Yeah,
here's your property line, and there's your neighbor's wall.
yes.
And so you can see that's where the existing sign is, that little dot. And if you see down here, this dot is the other sign. So it's a little bit closer to your house than that one is. So this is kind of showing you your usable area is this direction.
So
Now-
okay.
And so your shed is actually, we shouldn't have allowed you to put it there, but you got it there. So that was good for you.
Okay, I got something.
Yeah, you did.
Thank you.
And you'll notice that, it's not consistent on every property. They're not 25 feet in every situation.
Right,
From
exactly, yeah.
they're different because each lot was different. So
Uh-huh.
basically that's how it is. And Mike, I think, he's not remembering, necessarily what, I talked to him today. He's like, okay, yeah, I'll put the signs where they are on the plans, but yeah,
Okay,
he wasn't
all
really
right.
realizing where they were supposed to go.
Uh-huh. Okay, well, I'd invite you to see what my plans are if you would prefer to come back to the spot. I don't know if that's of interest of anyone.
Mary? With
Yes.
the change of the position of the sign, does that make the fire pit further into the no disturb?
So yeah, the proposed, so here's approximately where the no disturb is, this line. And so she was kind of thinking of having fire pit area in here. I mean, I think the stairs, they're probably fine. They're right on the edge. It's good. It's nice to have some good access down there. But the whole fire pit section, it's not even flat here. So she'd have to, I don't know, you'd have to do a little bit work to make it flat. And anyhow, it would be down here somewhere.
And my thought was if it's allowed, I would just do crushed stone just to keep it as natural as possible. And then on the edge of the stone, do all the plantings.
I think plantings are gonna end up being necessary here anyway, Donna, because you've got, the soil is not necessarily the greatest here anyway. And, your home has been here about a year and you've had such, I mean, even looking at the photo there, you've had such an issue with runoff that, it's, in my opinion, probably extending that crushed stone over, and this is just my opinion, obviously not the board's, but just coming over a few feet, and allowing a fire pit there, bring some maybe patio block over to keep it at bay. And that's gonna be the critical thing, is keeping all
Okay.
of that crushed stone at bay.
Okay,
And then, you get a place for, you and your family to sit and actually enjoy, you've got a beautiful wildlife spot in your backyard.
I know. I've already seen a lot of things.
Yeah, there's some great things there. And then, but I think with, the give and the take here, we're gonna, I mean, it should be some plantings in there. I think probably maybe some, as some folks that are probably on the line would say, some ground junipers, those things, they run along, areas that are deteriorated or degraded, and it acts like, almost like a carpet.
Yes, I've had them before.
Yeah.
They
Like
spread.
rub
They spread.
juniper, yeah.
Yeah, ground juniper, you can do a native azalea in there, so you get
Is that
some,
is that a swamp azalea?
you can do a swamp azalea. If you go to some of the nurseries and let them know, some native flowers, flowering things like an eastern redbud would look beautiful there in the spring.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
respectfully, instead of talking about plants, I'm really concerned that we're having a conversation about disturbing and do not disturb area. And the precedent that it would set for that entire set of houses. We worked very hard to get that a no disturb, and we've made a mistake and put a shed there. And now we're starting to talk about more disturbance.
Well, if I might make one comment, where the sign is between my house and the blue house, the one that Mike moved, that's now seems to be maybe in the right spot. That the wall that was allowed to, hold up the gravel for that house is really only 9 feet off the wetlands. And I'm not coming anywhere close to that.
Yeah, I think just the point, Donna, is, your lot's bigger and that's nice for you. Each lot has a different amount of closeness. Like ideally, we would have had, each lot, we argued with the distance from the house to the wetland. And so, yeah, this one, it may be slightly closer, but that was a concession, really. We would have wanted them to all be like yours. So I think each lot's different. I think the commission approved these signs. They would just have to vote to change what they approved, really, as to the placement of the signs.
And we don't even have a certificate of compliance yet on the original construction of this house.
Well, we
Yeah,
couldn't.
I think
like
Mike is working on that. He puts that in today. I think pretty soon we'll be ready for that. But yeah, he's working on it.
Right, and we're starting to overcomplicate, and we're starting to talk about changing the point that we worked so hard for.
Right here.
I'm very uncomfortable with, let's put stone in, let's put a fire pit. Yep, maybe I'd like to hang out there. Let's put some stairs. We can't let the line we worked so hard for continue to move closer and closer to the swamp. I mean, we could, if we had agreed to that in the beginning, the whole setup would be different, but we didn't agree to it in the beginning.
I agree with Michelle.
okay. So do you think we should visit? I will tell you right now, the first half of this application, I 100% am in agreement with the stairs and the deck.
Yeah, I have no problem with that either.
But if we feel that we should go to the site and see exactly what is, we can get a feel and a sense of what the topography is, what has changed. Obviously, the shed is in now. We can still see what's eroding. How far she is looking to extend it out. Maybe she could stake out, put some sticks in or some.
I did do that. The
Okay.
sticks are out there, but you can't see them because I dropped those pictures off
Right.
this
We
morning.
didn't get them. I'm sorry about that.
That's
All right.
all right. Well, whatever. Okay.
So are we thinking that we want to visit this as a board and take a look?
I'd say yes, absolutely.
Okay, so let's put this on the next, let's put this on the site visit list then.
What happened?
All right.
Joey,
Yes,
the other thing, I would have to recuse myself because I don't think I was around when this was originally spoken. However, though I agree with keeping to original plans, life changes is that, and there's been an unusual amount of runoff in that area. So once you put a house in, like once you do the construction, it has to be a little bit malleable to what actually happened and not what could have happened. That's how we plan things. So
Oh, yeah.
I think we have to keep open that it can't be rigid. There are some things that can be rigid. The NOI stuff has to be, this is law and this is this. But since these people put the house in and lived in and all the other houses, there's been a lot of runoff that goes to the swamp anyway.
Absolutely. And I mean, it gives us, I think visiting here probably gives us a chance to look at the other homes and see how they've developed and to kind of get an idea of the water situation that she still has going on here and how the built environment is jiving with what is now a natural environment. Because, design doesn't necessarily always work with the built environment right away. So, all right, so with that said, Mary, can we do a partial approval on this so that she can get going with her deck if we're all in agreement on the deck?
Not typically.
Okay, all right.
So yeah, I think just continue the whole thing.
Till May.
Yep.
And that's going to be a site visit also, right?
Yeah.
So, all right, so we will come out on, you said that was the 30th, Mary?
Yeah. April 30th.
Okay. All right, so can I get a continuance, please, for Black Point Road for site visit? And then we'll make a determination on May 5th.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, Clarissa with the first, and then Robin, will you second?
Sure. Second.
Okay. You
Ms.
did-
Cirillo,
Yes.
Dr. Jewel,
Yes.
Ms. Johnson,
Yes.
Mr. Wigglesworth.
Yes. All right,
Okay.
Donna and David, thank you very much.
All
And
Thank you.
right, thank you.
we'll see you soon.
All right. Well,
right.
will I know when about you'll be visiting me?
Mary will definitely be in touch with you and she'll let you know the approximate time
Okay.
that will be at your home, okay?
All right.
That sounds great.
Terrific. Thank you
Looking
so
forward to
much.
seeing you. All right,
All righty. Have a good
Take care.
night.
You too.
Bye
Bye.
now.
All right, so right on time here. So public hearings, notices of intent, also known as NOIs. This is 94 Bates Point Road. This is the Turner project. Demolition and construction of a single family home. Continued from March 21st. We were waiting for some revisions to the plan. And then as well as construction sequence notes to be added to the engineered plans. I believe I saw Zachary Glass, the engineer in the room who is representing Mr. LaBelle on this project. So Zachary, do we have you?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes. How are you this
Perfect.
evening?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Terrific. Okay, so we got your plans. And thank you so much for the clarity on them. And I read through the sequencing here, the details here, excellent. Operation and maintenance schedule, terrific. It did say in there, I noticed that refilling would be off-site. Doesn't necessarily need to be off-site, but just probably at the beginning of the driveway would be fine, but.
Yeah, say hopefully at a location furthest away that we could
Yeah.
reasonably do that, so it's not within
And
that.
if Mr. LaBelle is on this project, he definitely knows that.
Mhm.
So, commissioners, this, I'm sure everyone has gone through the construction notes, and I want to thank the parties involved for getting us the notes here is great. Any commissioners have feedback or questions?
Do we have a planting plan outstanding on this one, Joey?
I mean, I can speak to that, there's no planting plan, but I did show the proposed tree planting locations on the proposed site plan. Basically where we are removing trees to do construction, we're proposing to replace them within the similar area. So I did show where those trees were going to be going on that proposed site plan.
And I think I've got my notes from our first meeting that we talked, Zach, and that we would just make it a special condition that the planting plan could come after the contractor has spoken to the landowner. All right. So, commissioners, any other items? Discussion, comments?
Nope.
There's no other items. This is a public hearing, so I will open it up for public comment. All right, hearing no more commissioner input. Are there any abutters with public comments? On 94 Bates Point Road, public comment. Last call for public comment for 94 Bates Point Road. All right, can I get a commissioner to please motion to close the public hearing for 94 Bates Point Road?
I'll make that motion.
Clarissa with the first
I'll second.
and Michelle with the second.
Ms. Cirillo,
Yes.
Dr. Jewel,
Yes.
Ms. Johnson.
Yes.
Mr. Wigglesworth,
Yes. Can I please get a motion to issue the order of conditions for 94 Bates Point Road, please?
I'll make the motion to issue the order of conditions for 94 Bates Point Road.
I'll second.
Michelle with the first, Clarissa with the second.
Ms. Cirillo,
Yes.
Dr. Jewel,
Yes.
Ms. Johnson,
Yes.
Mr. Wigglesworth.
Yes. All right, so Zachary, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And
Joey, I just remind you, we were gonna do Mr. LaBelle's planting plan for 33 Wawila right now, since he's on.
yes. Oh, yes, okay. Mr. LaBelle, we have done.
Hello, hello, can you hear me?
Yes, how are you?
Hello, hi.
Good. All right,
So,
so your
We're
planting
talking about
plan,
33 Wheeler Road.
Yes.
Our original order of conditions wasn't showing a planting plan down there, but I have added one since,
okay,
and I submitted it. I can't say that I know the name of every species that we want to put down there, so I'd like to have you suggest what you'd like down there. We will add those plants down by the water's edge. Native species, my landscaper actually owns his own nursery, and he stocks all these native species. So it's all great. I
Okay.
can't say that I know each and every one of those species that you're looking for. So if you want to direct me a little bit of what
Sure.
you're looking for down there, we'll be glad to do that. Just like we do on each one of our projects, we always go over and above with the amount of plants that we add.
yeah, I think something like buttonbush would be good. Swamp azalea would be good. Sweet pepper bush would be good.
Could I ask you this? Could you guys just email me a list of what you're looking for and I'll send
Oh,
that
yeah.
to a landscaper? We'll make sure that those plants end up in that, right down by the water type of planting on
Absolutely.
that slope. Mary was down, she'd seen that slope, it's a steep slope, but we always can make sure that we stabilize all that. It is stabilized right now.
Okay.
I protected it quite well. But as we plant it, we will make sure that everything grows that we plant and it will be stabilized and it will look nice, just like we always do. But, if you ask for 5 or 6 plants, we always do 10 or 12. So just
Okay.
tell me what you're looking for and I'll get it in there.
All right, so you want a recommended number, Doug, too?
Recommended number and a recommended type of species you're looking for. If he doesn't have one, he'll use the other. So just give me a couple of different species that you suggest.
All right,
And
all
we'll make it happen.
right, that sounds great.
Okay?
All right, terrific, thank you.
Okay.
All right.
All right, so I'll grab that from Mary, or she can email it over to me when you have it, and we're planning on getting that whole site wrapped up in the next 4 weeks.
That sounds terrific.
Yep, so it'll be another
Another-
asset to the lake, and it will be a project that we'll all be proud of.
Fantastic. I thank you, Doug.
Okay,
All right, commissioners, any input on that one?
Joey, just refresh my memory. That was the site that had the cease and desist because the vegetation was cleared from the bank? Or no?
no,
No.
Okay,
Well,
sorry.
it is the site where there was a lot of vegetation pulled off the bank. I'm not sure that we gave him a cease and desist, but yeah, that I think you're remembering that site, Karen, yeah.
Okay,
There was, if memory serves me correctly, there was a sort of a hidden patio or something with rebar in it, wasn't there, Doug?
there was, yes, it was more like a docking type of system, and when it was poking out, there was rebar sticking out. That's a good memory. There was rebar sticking out, and then once we started exposing it, we realized that there was a giant block of concrete buried into the bank there, which is very strange because all the trees there were, older. I don't know how that ever got there, but yes, it was.
Okay.
And we started pulling at it. Next thing you know, we pulled up a 8x10 block that was bigger than our excavator. And it was filled with rebar and wire and all kinds of crazy stuff. But yeah, we put it back together. And like I said, when we're done landscaping, it will look great. It'll look like it should be. It'll look like, what you're expecting and all that. So I never thought that there was an issue there that somebody was thinking about doing a stop work order. I didn't hear any of that.
No, I
I'd be
think,
surprised if somebody wanted to stop a work order over there. That site was kept relatively perfect.
yeah, I think we talked to you about,
Yeah,
the concerns over there and, I mean, you addressed them, so,
right. I always try to, I live 2 doors down from there. I gotta do a good job.
yeah, I was gonna say, you're in the neighborhood. You're in the
Yeah,
neighborhood.
so anyhow.
All right,
Yep. So as I'm doing it, I'll be glad to have you guys come over. We'll take a look, but you'll be happy with the final product as we always are. So. Okay,
absolutely.
so I'll grab that list from Mary, or she can send it over to me, and I'll make sure that gets in my landscaper's hands. And like I said, he stocks these plants, which is a nice thing too. We don't have to go searching for them. He carries them right in his own nursery, right in Thompson.
Nice. All
Yeah.
right,
Okay.
very
right.
good. All right, thank you, Doug.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. See you guys soon.
All right, take care.
Bye. Have a good night.
You too. All right, and Zach, I believe we're all set with 94 Bates Point Road, right, Mary?
Yes.
Oh, yes, yeah, no, I meant to sign off, but I got wrapped up in something else, so I
Well,
appreciate
you
it. Have a
can
good
hang
evening.
out. You're free to hang out with us.
No, thanks. I got my kids sitting in the other room watching TV.
Well, you take care of them. Take care,
All right, take
Zach.
care.
I'm sure we'll see you in the
Thanks.
future. Take care.
Absolutely. Bye-bye.
All right,
Stay safe.
bye-bye. Okay, folks, all right. Next public hearing here, we've got 15 Cedar Point Road. This is Mr. John Lango, replacing the garage and retaining wall. Do we have Mr. Longo on?
I am on the line. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, how are you, sir?
I'm very well. Good evening, Commission.
Great, great. So, Mary has, your drawings and your application, and she's gonna pull it up.
Did I not pull that planting plan up? I thought I had it up, but I guess I never shared it. Did you guys see it?
It was, oh no, I pulled it up on my computer, so.
Okay, I'm sorry. Anyway, anyway, we have this one.
So Commission, last year you helped assist me as I was getting water underneath the foundation on the south side of the house. The house is built on a slab, and you gave me an emergency.
Yes.
There, the picture there, yours, yeah.
Now, Mr. Longo, when we were there, didn't I tell you you should have done something with the retaining wall?
The one down by the water, yeah.
The one down by the water.
I didn't have a good solution on what would
Yeah,
be
yeah.
the best solution. And it looks like the 2 by 2 by 4 foot blocks were, it seems like they've been using them a lot around the lake, and
Oh, yeah, yeah,
and so we thought that would be a long-term solution.
yeah. But at least you have the ability to get in there now, to be able to
Right.
take care of what you need to take care of. But your other project came out great.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much.
So now the water problem's all settled?
We're somewhat settled. The concrete slab is the slab for the that the house sits on. So part of that sidewalk has to be carefully taken out so it doesn't disturb the structure. But most of the moisture, we're not getting any more water into my son's bedroom, and so that had definitely solved the solution. Solved most of that problem.
Okay. All right.
So we dismantled that garage so that we could get the equipment in there. And so we want to reinstall the garage after we do the rest of the construction.
All right. So I guess why don't we, start in the back and work our way front? Would that be the best way? Because are you keeping the garage separate? Or again?
Yeah, the garage will be separate.
Okay,
It will not be attached. We're going to build it
right.
exactly. We're going to reinstall it exactly like it was before. So.
Okay.
And then the shed during one of the storms, a branch had fallen on it, so I had taken the shed down, and I just left it out until we did our construction.
Okay. So Mary, if you wouldn't mind, please, just maybe zooming in a little bit. Might be my computer.
Am I reading this wrong? Is the scale off?
It's 10 feet.
Equals 1 foot?
Equals 1 foot. Yep.
A 1 inch maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, 1 inch. Yeah, I'm sorry.
1 foot equals 1 inch.
Yeah.
Okay. So you
Sorry.
might want to fix that.
It was a typo. Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess
And
I'm gonna need glasses sooner than I thought.
And you're
It's
gonna,
kind of important in this kind of drawing.
Yes, exactly.
and this retaining wall is going to sit inland like the current one does?
Correct.
Okay. Sorry, my dog's getting the zoomies. Sorry.
Where is the proposed? I only see the existing up here.
Yeah.
I can't, I thought that's what we had to put. Proposed silt fence.
Yeah, so the proposed wall goes in the same place. So like he says, rebuild existing retaining wall just in the same place.
Okay.
This plan is missing an awful lot of information. And I can just start off by addressing what Robin just said. It just says you're going to replace the existing with a new, but it doesn't give any details whatsoever. Is that, I guess, are you saying that the new retaining wall is 18 to 24 inches in height?
That's correct. In several locations, the grade is a little bit different. So
Does it have a footing?
we're using the 2x2 by 4 foot blocks, which are 3,000 pounds a piece. So we're going to dig those into the ground about 6 inches and set those from there.
Okay, that's not shown anywhere on the plan where it shows that you're digging into the lake bed or land underwater. That's not addressed, and actually it wasn't even addressed on the notice of intent.
But currently the water doesn't come up to that portion of the retaining wall. But I'm happy to supply whatever is needed.
Yeah, just so that we know that the wall is sitting on something and not just, floating on the ground.
So are
Yeah,
you thinking the narrative, Karen?
Yeah, there wasn't a narrative supplied with the NOI. So I do have a lot of questions. If you don't mind, I'll just start asking them.
sure.
Yeah, go right ahead, Karen.
Okay, you talked about removing approximately 2 truckloads of gravel. Where is that? Where exactly is that coming from?
That was taken out on the south portion of the house where the new retaining wall is. You had taken out about 2.5 to 3 truckloads out of that.
That's
area.
already done?
That's already been done. We were
Oh.
getting a lot of water in the house during all that rain over last summer. Water was going under. We had mold. We had to take all the sheetrock down in the 2 rooms because the mold was so strong in my son's bedroom.
Okay.
And so the commission had assisted me with.
Yeah, we did an emergency
We
search.
did an emergency.
But it was
yes,
noted on the new plan, so I thought that was new information. Do you understand?
When I went over it with Mary, she suggested that I add that and I show that it's been moved over into that plan. And the commission recommended any other projects that I may want to do to put in my notice on the home. Since we just purchased it in July,
Okay.
I would put that into the plan. But I wasn't planning on doing the retaining wall, except it was falling in, and now the deck is falling in, falling towards the deck, towards the lake, because they're kind of built together. And so the deck has sunk about 3 or 4 inches already. So that all needs to be
So
repaired.
that was another thing, like it said, the current deck is, falling and you're going to replace it, but it doesn't give any detail on what you're replacing it with or how, or elevations or the footings or anything of that nature.
Sure. Well, the current footings are in decent shape, but I'm happy to supply all that to the commission on what we're doing. We kind of just, after doing some research on the lake and talking to some of the other contractors on the lake, the 2x2 by 4 foot blocks seem to be the best long-term solution, since it is a home that, my family uses.
Okay, so then I guess then note that on the plan, because there's no detail whatsoever of I think of the deck, of the elevations, or, even a side view. There's no information on the deck other than you're going to replace it.
Is it going to be exactly the same footprint?
It's going to extend a little bit bigger, and it's more of a repair. I mean, we can't use that deck in its current state. It's very unsafe. So that's the whole purpose. I didn't plan on doing anything with the deck, and I added it into the plan. But when I discovered that the retaining wall needed to be replaced and that they were tied together, there's no way to do one without the other.
Well, that retaining wall there, have you looked underneath there to see if there's any footing?
There is no footing there.
All right, so the footing has to be put in. So,
Yeah.
is that something you plan on doing yourself, or is that something you're gonna have someone do?
I have a contractor lined up to do the excavation, my father-in-law.
Okay.
And
Because where this is at, John, we're gonna have to, you're gonna have to file for Chapter 91, because you're in where you're that lower level, where this particular retaining wall is at water's edge. It's in the bank. So that triggers Chapter 91 permit for the state to allow you to to do work within what's considered their property.
Okay, is there any other solution that I might be able to?
If he pulls the wall back a little bit, like 2 feet back, so it's, I mean, it's right now, it's pretty much out of the water, except over towards this far edge, it's close.
When
with
we were
that.
when we were there and I was talking to you, John, the last time, I said probably the easiest thing for you
Yeah,
would be to probably take it out and just have a naturalized, you know, a natural beach, which was sort of there before. But I mean, I didn't, you know, obviously do inspection and, you know, that's obviously not my area, you know, that's more building.
Sure.
But I can tell you, looking at this, this definitely would trigger chapter 91 for having to get a permit from the state. And you're digging at water's edge to you have to put a footing in order to hold that wall up. You're gonna have no choice.
yeah,
So
those
Joey-
those blocks would still require a footing even at
Yeah, with the way the wave energy is and the fetch, I mean, I'll be honest with you, I wouldn't want to spend the money and then have it get undermined
Okay,
through weathering. Just, you know, basic process of weathering and hydraulics.
okay. So
On the
the,
right-hand side,
Mhm.
is there no wall there?
He's got sort of a, kind of a terrace there. There's 2 walls that run sort of simultaneously.
Yeah, on this
really?
side of the deck, but on the one side, this side of the deck, there is no wall.
Yeah, so what Joey's suggestion about not even having a wall seems like it's not unreasonable.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be a steep kind of slope, but yeah, that could work.
I mean,
I'm just
it's,
worried because the higher area up in the upper bank next to the new house, the neighbor, it's a little higher grade there, so I worry about that eroding into the water and losing whatever beach that I had was the only purpose I was going to
Well-
replace the retaining wall or repair it.
We also haven't had a lot of water, well, actually we have, but yeah, so I'm kind of thinking yes and no on that, because when the water's high, we get a lot of water, it's gonna really come up into his lawn.
only if he's in floodplain, which I haven't even
Okay,
looked
alright.
at.
Yeah.
Should be on the
And-
drawing too.
And that's, you know, that's the
Yes,
thing,
floodplain, okay, yeah.
you know, I mean, I
was
gotta
gonna
look
say,
at,
let's see, the floodplain.
you know, and that's the thing too, if you're sitting in a floodplain, you need to do what they call compensatory mitigation, which means you need to tuck your wall in a little bit in order for areas where if your wall is sitting in an area where it's considered floodplain, you have to sort of make up somewhere on your property for that, where the flood water should be.
Okay,
It's, you know, it can get complex, unfortunately.
Well, the resource lines aren't shown and the buffer zones aren't shown, correct?
Right, that's what I was saying earlier.
Yeah, the water line is on here, but right, the 25-foot, no, they're not
Yeah.
shown.
They're not shown, I already looked.
You know, in this situation, you know, we do typically require that on engineered plans. It's pretty obvious that the work is within the 25-foot. I mean, but we can't ask them to put it on there.
yeah, that's not a problem.
I think it's simple and necessary.
Sure.
Also, looking at your property, it does look flat where your house is, but I don't see anything that would give me any idea of elevations whatsoever. You know, even if you were to just give a couple of grades, like at the top of the wall that's not in the water, and the top of the wall that is at the water's edge, and maybe like your walkout elevation, because there's
Sure.
nothing on the plan that can relate, I can relate to any kind of grading, elevation, disturbance, slope, possibility of erosion, like, because there's no information that tells me that whatsoever.
Absolutely, I could put that. The house,
We're up
the
to-
exist-
Sorry.
the existing house is at ground level. That's why we're having all the water issues all the way around the home.
Mary,
Mhm.
So do
Um,
you have a basement? Like,
There-
are
it's
you
a
in the
slab.
groundwater? Is that the problem?
No, it's a slab and it's rainwater and snow that's penetrating the house.
Okay.
hey, John,
Yeah,
I just took a look at the FEMA flood maps. And I kind of pretty much sort of know why your house is built on slab. You've got your house in towards the tip of Cedar Point is a lot of floodplain. And so somebody at some point had put that retainer wall in there to try to keep the lake at bay so that they had some sort of a backyard. But the water table gets high
okay.
underneath your house. So when we get a lot of water and it gets inundated, there's not a lot of place for that water to go in your yard. So that's why it takes a long time for the water to get in the ground.
I see.
But if Mary were to show you the floodplain along the lakeside, and I can remember when we were permitting your neighbor's house to be built on the end there.
Right.
Part of her property on the right side of her driveway was floodplain, and we remember, Mary, we were going back and forth if she was going to be developing that part of the yard, and she would have had to we had to kind of move stuff around a bit on the property to make sure that it was kind of a no-touch zone.
Yeah.
And it got brought up by DEP to make sure that we made sure that it was recognized on the plans. So I'm thinking on this one, for the sake of time, I think it's probably prudent that, as I had mentioned in your project the last time when we came and saw you, I had gone over with, your project, obviously getting everything out of there, writing up a really good sequence of how this is going to, how it's going to happen. But before, have that sort of in the back of your, construction sequence in the back of your mind. And obviously you work in construction, so you're used to doing these sequences, but I think probably, I think meeting with Mary, and Mary could probably cover with you exactly what's missing from this plan.
Okay.
And but first of all, I think I really think the wall that's at the edge, if you wanted to go forward with that wall at the edge, lake's edge, you're gonna have to get an engineer involved in that because you're gonna be digging into the lake bed.
Okay.
And that's gonna send a red flag up with DEP. Mary, have any notes come back from DEP yet?
No.
Okay. And that will probably come up once your DEP number is assigned. They'll send those notes in back to us saying, hey, check this, check that. What about this? What about that?
Now, my other option, I don't know if this is if it's possible for me to repair the existing, if I can pull that wall forward, because obviously, summer's going to be coming around the
Oh,
corner.
yeah, of course. I
wanna-
fully get that.
so, and that
If
wall.
you were, if you were to pull that back, it probably 2 feet you know, that's somehow tied into your deck. I mean, but I would probably say that that would probably need to come back 2 feet, but I would need to check the FEMA flood map to see how far in, but I would say probably at least 2 feet. And you would probably be in the safe zone.
Okay,
I just closed my my GIS. But just so you know, the normal lake level, some areas it's 478, and some areas it's 480. The lake is actually kind of tips as you go south. It sort of tips,
okay,
so you're probably at about 480 mark. So, you know, if you start to look that up yourself, I think you're around the 480 mark.
okay. Because the wall is still solid, it's just moved forward. I don't know how long ago it was built, but I
Yeah.
know I can repair it so that I at least could use so at least I can repair the deck and the kids can use it for the summertime.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, even if you came back, you know, took it down and came back a foot, I mean, that would,
Joey, I don't think that's what the applicant is saying. He's trying to fix the wall that's existing to stand up so that the kids
oh,
can.
so
use
that
in
it doesn't
summer.
fall.
Some short-term solution so that our
Oh,
kids
yeah.
are not injured.
Yeah, just until we just figure out how difficult the permitting will be through the state, and going to all that extent may not be needed. If I take a better look at that wall, maybe I can repair that enough where it give a good existing structure. I mean, because it's a very solid wall, it's moved forward because
Yeah, yeah,
you know, and I with manual labor, instead of having any equipment up there, I could probably get that repaired, and I could repair the deck in its existing state without having to
I mean, absolutely. I mean, you definitely, I mean, you know, I would definitely let Mary know, but I would also, you know, because you're fixing structures, you should let Ted know so you can get a proper building permit.
okay,
That you're just, you know, you're just fixing it, you know, as a temporary fix so that no one gets injured. You know, so you can utilize it for the summer until you figure out how you want to handle it.
okay,
But I would just leave Mary in the know, and then, you know, if you want to put this application on hold and then, you know, run some ideas by Mary, if you'd like us to come out and take a look at the property and ask some questions, you know, we're more than happy to come out and talk some stuff out and talk some stuff through with you if you'd like.
much appreciated. I
Yeah.
think I'll contact Mary next week and come in the office and see if I can we can come up with a plan that would be satisfactory.
Yeah, I mean, you know, don't, you know, because I said, you know, you need a chapter 91 permit. I mean, don't get all nervous about that. I mean, it's because Webster's a great pond, and there's an extra layer of permitting. You know,
Okay.
it's just because where the wall sits, it triggers that 91 permit.
Okay.
So,
So Joey, let me just understand, you were suggesting that if he moved the wall back 1 or 2 feet, he might not trigger the chapter 91 permit.
yeah, he would be out of the direct shoreline. He wouldn't be touching water. It's when that wall is right in the water, right in that shoreline. But
Okay.
if he can come back, and he'd probably be out of that flood, even out of the floodplain area, depending upon, I will tell you that this far end on that bottom picture on the
Yeah.
left side, when I was just looking at GIS, that area tends to be the area that floods the most.
Okay.
Towards Robin's house, your next door neighbor.
Yep.
That's the area that looked like it was flood. That area.
Yep.
So when the lake is high, that's the area that gets most water.
Okay.
based on,
Actually, I had a question at the very end here. So there's this piece of the wall here. And then you have, this is just sitting, it's a little further down, separate. Were you just gonna leave that? I mean, it seems like it's in fine shape, or were you gonna pull that out?
Well, I would be looking at recommendations. It looks like there was an old dock there of some sort.
Okay.
It's a solid piece of concrete. I wasn't planning on disturbing it at all,
Okay.
because it was pretty solid.
Yeah. Yeah, it seemed fine. It just, it's more of an aesthetic thing, I would think, but it's fine to leave it, obviously. It's not causing issues.
Sure.
all right, commissioners, any other questions for John? John, do you have anything for us?
No, I think after I meet with Mary and we come up with I kind of brainstorm an idea what I can do there. And then repairing the garage. Now, well, if I did repair the deck, would I be able to extend it at all? Or do I need to repair it in its existing state?
So is this here, like the existing deck is approximately like this, right? And
Correct.
the extension was about double.
Correct.
So the commission should answer that question as to what they think.
You're
for the
just
deck.
you're just riding that along the shoreline?
Correct.
Well, my
And I can
question
see
would be is what if you bring that wall in? What then? Because
I
that was
guess I'd
one
have
of,
to see how far it would have to come in, and then I guess I could revise another plan for the deck if that's possible.
So, because you're hoping to do the deck for this summer, right? Because right now it's not usable.
Correct. At least to repair it so the kids can use it for
Yeah.
the summer. The extension I just put in my letter of intent of something that was on a wish list of possibly doing down the road.
Could you tell me the distances? I can't read them from the main house to the existing Brock retaining wall, typo, and then the wall to the deck. What's those distances?
So this one says 13,
It's almost
Feet.
14 feet. Yep.
and then this one here, Karen, is 8 feet 8 inches.
So that's all within the 25 no build zone.
Right. Well, the way the
It's-
25 no disturb zone works, Karen, is, anything that's in existence already, is kind of, it's there. So now as to whether he expands his deck, obviously that's up for discussion,
Okay, okay.
Maybe the deck, you guys could think about, maybe the deck goes back. I mean, the deck
Pull it
has been
back.
here. The
Yeah.
deck has been here, and that's nice that with the dock, but
So I guess I'm just a little confused. If we're just looking at the, how can we get through the summer plan? What would have to be repaired on this deck?
I think it's the footings are, because the sand is eroding under the wall. I think the footing is in jeopardy. Is that right?
That's correct. Yeah. The supports for the deck are starting to move forward towards the lake.
Yeah, I don't think I got a very good picture of it, but
So it's a
Yeah.
serious repair. It's not, I gotta put in a few new boards or I got some bad
No.
studs or something simple. Yeah,
no, it's a redo.
it's
It
serious.
would be wise to redo it, but if it was gonna, now would be the time to do it. But I
Would you consider pulling the deck all the way up and back behind that wall so that we,
well,
given that you're in the flood zone, given that you're building on sand, I mean, there's a lot of, unstable situations going on under that deck. If you pulled it back behind that wall, wouldn't you feel better?
Well, it would be, the house is even with that grade currently. So the
Oh.
deck would be erased. In its current place, And with, with proper footings in the right locations, that the deck would be well supported. It's just some of the work that was done there wasn't done the way I would have done it. And I think what's happening is it needs some bracing, it needs some supports, and
Well, don't you think, I mean, I'm just curious, once you start digging a footing, don't you think you're gonna hit water?
you are. I mean, how we, we usually will use crushed stone, and then before we put pour a footing that enters water. So I'd probably dig a couple test holes to see, but I have to do a little better examination of the
Yeah.
existing deck for repair, to see what kind of footings are there and where the damage is coming from, whether it's a footing or it's the erosion.
Well, because crushed stone, just the crushed stone is just gonna hold the water in place. You'd have to displace it with, piers, I would think.
Well, definitely. Crushed stone is what we usually will put down with standing water. It's required in the building code to put stone, and then we usually put a footing on top of that. So if they are compromised, that's what would have to be done.
So as I'm looking at some of your deck pictures, I think you might also be adding, or whoever set this up might have created some of their own problems. I don't understand why there'd be landscape fabric and mulch. And if you're having water issues, you might want to, for the future, when you're planning things, consider plantings or something more natural there that would handle the water better than plastic and mulch.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, it's one of the, I've discarded a lot of the mulch that was fallen into the lake already and plan to get rid of the remaining portion this year. I don't know what they were thinking about when they.
Yeah, it's almost like somebody created a problem there by putting plastic there.
I would probably consider, and this, this is for obviously whenever, John, I would think that, maybe some sort of a jute cloth that has some seedlings in it.
Okay.
And, maybe get that plastic eventually off there, and you can, you're probably familiar with them. Just roll that out there.
Sure.
And just, water it and just let it grow.
Right.
And, it doesn't need to be obviously stuff that gets underneath your deck and it's a pain in the butt, but, you can kind of cut around it so that it keeps stuff underneath the deck from growing. But anything to stabilize that embankment there would have roots, and that's the most ideal thing.
Right. Yeah. Some planting ground covers.
So, but I mean, in my opinion, I mean, I don't see, in my opinion, I don't, as long as the deck is done correctly, but that's up to you and Ted to obviously work that out together, but I don't see a major issue with allowing another, what was it, 4 by 4 foot section in there? 6 by 4 foot section
No, well, it's
corner.
I think it would be doubling the size, so it would be 8 foot by 15. So it is a pretty big expansion.
I thought it was just.
Obviously, I could cut that back considerably.
Right.
I only put that in for my on my wish list of what
Yeah.
looked the best. I mean, I honestly didn't plan on even doing any of that until I realized that the retaining wall kind of ties into the repair of the deck, and they kind of all have to be done hand in hand. But that can be cut back considerably if needed. And I can revise that plan accordingly.
Well, I think for all of us to feel comfortable, it'd probably be prudent to have, more clear plans. And I think the state is probably going to want to see clearer plans with, obviously proper notes and, and that's obviously the reason for, this process is to talk through these details.
Sure.
You know, and I know, Mary, you've been out there and looked at it and have talked to him and obviously, you know, I think that, you know, some of the commissioners like Karen hasn't been here to see that, you know, see it and really look at it. And the last time we were there, John, we were just really looking at between the house and Robin's development next door. So I don't know if you want to, you know, us to come and take a look at it, or if you're looking to move quicker on this. But Mary, I mean,
Yeah, I'm sorry, this one missed. I should have asked you whether you guys wanted this one for site visit list, but somehow I missed it. So yeah, maybe the commission wants to do another site visit here.
I mean, currently, after coming up with a solution from this meeting and your help, was a repair to the retaining wall, I guess would be my best option, and a repair to the deck, and even without an expansion, just so, again, so the kids can use the lake this summer without holding anything up. And I don't know if that means putting my permit on hold, although I did some of the work on the south side under the emergency. So I don't know.
Yeah, that south side is covered now that, you know, the emergency permit allows you to get the work done immediately, as long as you do an NOI filing.
Okay.
It's usually within 30 days, but at least you get the filing in now, and we appreciate that. So that's covered now under this filing. So I think what's prudent now is that you get, you know, at least, you know, Mary can probably issue you, administrative order to do any repairs to those two items that you're looking to repair. And
Okay.
then what we can do is we can help you talk you through some options and help you along with the main permit if you want.
That would be great.
And
Yeah.
then, you know, if you've got questions on, you know, obviously the flood zone thing and the high water mark and all of that jazz, you know, Mary can explain it, I can explain it. We could talk about it when we come there. You know, if you want to be the last visit on our site visit list, we can spend some extra time with you. You know, that could be an option. So,
That'd be great. I'd really appreciate it.
all right.
Sounds good.
Does that, commissioners, does that sound like a plan? Does that sound good? Any other input?
I think it sounds okay. Yeah.
Okay. All right, so then what we'll do is we'll continue your NOI to do you want to say July for now?
Okay.
Does that sound good, John? And then if you say, all right, you know what, folks, I'm gonna go for it in June, then we'll pull it back sooner.
No, I
Actually,
think
Joey, it's better to stick with a sooner date because we have to be able to put that on the next agenda so people can follow it.
Okay,
So if we want to pick a date in June, or if you feel like July is fine, we could go with July, but we can't pull it back, I don't think.
all right, well, why don't we do 6/6/22, because that's what we did for Glenn.
Yeah.
And then if you're not ready by then, John, then we can motion it out again.
that sounds great. Thank you.
So can I get a motion, commissioners, 6/6/22? Jeez, I hope that night isn't a full moon.
Make a motion to continue 15 Cedar Point Road to 6/6/22.
All
I
right,
second it.
Michelle and Robin.
All right, Ms. Chirillo,
Yes.
Dr. Jewel,
Yes.
Ms. Johnson. Ms. Johnson? Mr. Wigglesworth,
Yes.
Ms. Johnson? Okay, well.
isn't in the chat. Sometimes she has audio issues.
Yeah.
If we're at a point right now, I just wanted to say, when I said that I thought there was a stop order on 31 Wheeler and Mr. LaBelle said there wasn't, I believe there was, because I just went through our records and I see the email, Mary, that you told him to stop. So I just wanted that clarified. That's all.
Thank you, Karen. Yeah, I don't think we like, there's a couple, I may have sent him an email with a stop. I'm not sure I gave him the orange piece of paper
Okay.
or whatever, but yeah, there was a little bit of back and forth, definitely with the work he was doing there, for sure.
Yeah, I don't know why he thought that I was,
Right.
completely hallucinating, but that wasn't
no.
so.
All right, moving along here. 1 Wakefield Ave, Tom Flynn and Gregory Gonowar. This is from back in 2021. If folks will remember, this is removal. They were looking to remove the buildup of sand from the cove that has formed a delta at the end of a brook right near the corner of Wakefield and Lakeside. Do we have Tom on the line?
I don't think he's going to be here.
Okay.
He did indicate that he may just be dropping this for the time being, but maybe maybe let's give him another year in case, he has gone through the paperwork just to keep it open in case he changes his mind or whatever. Cause I think that a notice of intent would be good for 3 years, but.
Okay. All right, so why don't we motion to continue this to February 24th, 2023?
Sure.
Sounds so weird.
It does, but they have a right to do that, so.
Yeah, I would hate for them to have to go through the filing again.
Oh, yeah.
If they decide to do it.
And it's a cost too,
So
so.
Joey, did you make the motion?
No, I had put it out, as a rule, the chair shouldn't make the first motion.
I'll make the motion.
Okay, Michelle made the first motion. Do we have a second on that, please?
I'll second it.
All right, Robin with the second. And Mary, you wanna,
He's very hungry.
Just a second here.
no
Ms.
problem.
Cirillo,
Yes.
Dr. Jewel,
Yes.
Ms. Johnson,
Clarissa?
Mr. Wigglesworth,
Yes. Clarissa, are you there? All right. Moving along here, Mary, did you have something you had to take care of real quick?
yeah, if I could just tell my son something. My husband's not home, so they're trying to figure dinner out.
It's macaroni and cheese.
Exactly.
I'm in.
All right, just a few items left here, folks, and
I'm back.
all right. So we're moving on to 29 Beacon Road. Mr. Chaffetz, was this continue? This is on continuance until May 5th, so that is on continuance. And now we're at 27 Bates Grove Road. This is Mr. Claybart's project, removal of railroad tie wall and construction of a stone bank, continued from March 21st. And I believe this is being represented by Mr. Balsowitz. We have Steve.
Oh, wow. Those are nice
Hello.
plans.
You have younger Steve tonight.
Oh, we've got SB2.
Yes.
Steve, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well. It's been a while.
It has.
How's your dad doing?
He's good. He's away for the weekend, so he asked
Who
if I
gave
could
him
help him out.
permission?
What's that?
Who gave him permission?
Yeah.
All right, so why don't you take us through Mr. Claybart's project?
So, as previously stated in the prior meetings, Mr. Claybart would like to remove a failed railroad retaining wall at the water's edge. He does not want to replace the wall with a wall. He'd just like to slope it back as shown on the plan. And he'd like to reinforce that slope with stones. He's already purchased the stones. They're going to be large 2-man stones, about 50 to 100 pounds. So any, waves or any, disturbances with the waves won't remove them or displace them.
Okay.
We've also shown the dock, as you can see on sheet 1 in the lower corner. So when he goes to the state filings, he already has, conservation approvals for that.
Okay.
Any questions? Second and third sheet are just our standard, sediment and erosion control, stockpile, construction entrance. The one newer note was if you scroll down where the cofferdam and filter bag. So the intent, because he's going to be working so close to the edge, is to build a sandbag barrier to hold back the water. He'll then pump the water into the filter bag to remove any turbid water and any sediments. And it's permeable, so it will just, move through the bag, filter out any sediments, and drain back into the lake as clean water. As a second measure, we're also proposing a turbidity curtain around that wall. That should be installed first, just so during the construction of the actual cofferdam, there's a measure in place to, protect any further disturbance in the lake.
Okay.
If there's any questions, I'd like to, address them.
All right.
Tom Claybart's here too, in case there are any questions.
Tom, I'm so sorry I missed you. I can't see everybody. I'm in some sort of weird layout here. How are you? Nice to hear
I'm fine.
you. All right, commissioners, questions, comments?
Great plan.
So,
You.
just a quick question about the overview of the dock. What's the
Yes.
distance from the neighbors?
So I didn't want to have them come too far away, but from the right property line, it's 67 feet, more or less. And then you can see that little wetland flag 5, there's a 27-foot right there. I pulled that out and it's tied to a tie distance. So that distance there is 27.
Okay, all right, it wasn't so obvious to me, I couldn't tell where it was.
Yeah, it was, I put it on the side because if it was on the main plan, it would be even tougher to see, so.
Oh, no, I saw the picture of the dock, I didn't see the distances from the neighbors.
Yes.
In addition, to the left of the line there, there's a slight, I don't know, it's probably 12 feet to keep our boat.
Yeah, so by flag, I believe he's speaking about flag 6. There's like a little flat area there to the left. Yeah, there's like an existing natural boat ramp there. It's not paved or anything. It's just the spot to pull the boat out of the water and put it back in. It's natural grade, and we're intending to leave that as is and not disturb that at all.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember.
The one tree that's being removed, are you leaving the stump or removing the stump?
I believe with the grading itself, it would not be feasible to leave the stump. It would, just be roots sticking out of the side of the hill. A good portion of the stump would be, protruding out of the reinforced slope. And
Okay.
it would be easier to get that out of there just to make sure that the rocks are, locked together properly.
And heavy equipment in there to do the stonework?
I don't believe to do the stonework, like I said, they're 2-man stones, so they should be easily, moved by, a crew. However, there might be a small piece of equipment to bring them down to the water's edge. And while it's there, I would think that it would also be utilized to, lay some of the higher on the slope stones, but the stuff closer to the water might not be feasible.
I'm just wondering whether we should wrap the trees with the equipment down in that area.
There's only that one tree that's close to the water. The other
So-
trees are probably, I would say 15 feet back, 18 feet back.
You're gonna see them, I guess. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
they
trying
were
to
a little bit higher up on that embankment, Michelle.
I was trying to imagine what it looked like because I could remember the trees, but not how far away they are.
Yeah, they're a little bit away. And then, oh yeah, those are nice stones.
And what we're considering is once we take that tree out, I really like the tree. That's one it's a curved tree. Doesn't make any sense to keep it there. I don't think it would survive.
No,
And so what I'd like to do though is plant another tree because it really did provide some privacy.
We
okay.
love when you want to plant a tree.
Yeah. What kind, Tom?
I don't know. That's a good question.
It's Lenny.
Lenny? Wait, who's Lenny?
You're still on the line for the meeting? I am too. I haven't heard what's the status. There's been no one saying anything.
Hey, Lenny, we'll get to you. We're not quite to you yet. And I think you're next after this one.
Okay, we're next after this one, Mark, okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
And if you might, on this view, you can kind of see, if you look just over that owl, we're proposing that tree planting kind of back a little further, but yeah, in that general vicinity, set back towards the abutter's property. It's not dead set on that location per se. If Tom would like to locate it somewhere else, we'd like to just propose it generally near where the tree is being removed for it to be planted.
That's
I know he had mentioned he wanted some screening.
Yeah, that's
course.
probably where we would want to place it.
Yeah. Now,
I'm on the phone call.
all right. Commissioners, anything, any other items?
I just had a question about the cofferdam. So are you guys definitely going to use it, or is it only going to be used if the water level's high?
What is the restroom?
I believe it will only be necessary if the water gets really high. Right now, we're intending to basically hold the lowest elevation on that wall and taper it back from there. But if obviously the wall becomes more submerged, it may be necessary to utilize that means of construction.
You know, what normally happens is that as summer progresses, the water, it gets usually gets higher, and it already has. So what we might do is just hold off and wait until fall and hope the water goes back down again, because the water was pretty low this past fall. And then perhaps we don't need to use a cofferdam.
You know what you could do, Tom, is as you get closer to fall, Steve is less busy and you can ask him to carry the stones back there. So that would probably be a good idea. It'd be a good project for him.
Yeah, it's great exercise.
Oh, yeah.
So does one need a chapter 91 for the riprap?
Yeah, he's gonna, the chapter 91 permit for the wall, obviously, and then Tom, did you I think we had talked about it before, the chapter 91 permit for your dock. You should be grandfathered, I would think, because I'm sure your dock has been there pre-1984, I would think.
Yes, it has been.
So with licensing your dock, if you can provide an aerial photo, or if you've got a photo that predates 1984, when you do your submission to the state, what they'll do is they'll issue you your permit, and they'll send you a letter, and you'll say you're grandfathered. You won't have to pay the fee or have to do the filing again. It's a
Okay, good.
grandfather clause that predates 1984.
I'll have to go through some of my old slides, I guess. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get a picture of it. Because my father-in-law did it and he passed away.
There's a website called Historical Aerials,
Uh-huh.
and a lot of folks utilize that, Historical Aerials. And you can select the year. There's different websites out there that you can actually, and I think actually Google Earth now does it, and Google, through Google, you can do select a year in your address or something, and it'll show you an overview. And if they can see the dock there, then that's proof enough for them.
Okay, good. Yeah, I
Alright.
had contacted them to at least let me know what kind of license I needed, and they got back to me and said before they did anything, they wanted to see the engineering plan.
Okay, yeah. Okay, commissioners, anything else on Mr. Claybart's project? All right, hearing no other comments from the commissioners, this is a public hearing, so I'm gonna open it up to the public for public comment. All right, one last call for public comment on 27 Bates Grove Road. All right, hearing no comment on 27 Bates Grove Road from the public. Commissioners, can I get a motion to close the public hearing, please?
I motion we close the public hearing on 27 Bates Grove Road.
All right, Robin with the first,
I'll second.
Michelle with the second.
Ms. Sherillo,
Yes.
Dr. Jewel,
Yes.
Ms. Johnson, Mr. Wigglesworth,
Yes.
Clarissa,
Anything in the chat room, Mary?
no,
It's
Odd.
ridiculous. No, it's
All right, okay, can I get a motion to issue the order of conditions for 27 Bates Grove Road, please?
I motion we issue the order of conditions for 27 Bates Grove Road.
All right, thank you, Robin.
I'll second.
Thank you, Michelle.
Ms. Sherillo,
Yes.
Dr. Jewel,
Yes.
Ms. Johnson. I'm gonna try texting her. Mr. Wigglesworth,
Yes. Okay. Tom, thank you so much. Good luck with your project. Any questions or needs? Feel free to contact the office. Steve Jr., thank you so much. Tell your dad you say hello.
I will. Thank you for your
All
time.
right, stay busy.
Thank you for your
Okay.
time. Thank you,
All right.
Steve.
Thank you,
You're
folks.
welcome. Bye.
All right, 70 Bates Point Road. This is the Shakely project that has been continued until the next meeting of May 5th.
and we need to vote on that though.
And we need a vote from the commission to advance that to May 5th, please. So can I get a motion of continuance?
I'll make the motion to continue 70 Bates Point Road to May 5th.
Okay. Shell? Can I get a second, please? I'll second the motion.
All right, Ms. Cirillo,
Yes.
Dr. Jewel,
Yes.
Ms. Johnson. Okay, Mr. Wigglesworth,
Yes.
Okay.
Anything from Clarissa?
no. Dan was gonna come on late.
I don't have anything from her either. All right, moving on to 69 South Shore Road. This is the Rudnicki project, construction of a single family home. Continued from March 21st. And I believe we have do we have Mr. Rudnicki on the line? And
Leonard Jalbert on the line.
and I'm sorry, who's that?
Mr. Jalbert.
Mr. Jalbert, how are you?
Fine, thank you.
Great. We'll be with you in just 1 second.
Okay.
Anything from,
No. Mr. Jalbert, are you on 508-509-8510?
Right, yes.
Okay. We're getting background noise, but as long as it's you, I won't mute you.
all right, and I don't see Merrick on. Do we have Merrick on the line?
Yeah, he should be.
All right, Mary, any feedback from anyone?
Actually, let's see here. Oh. I have the wrong cell phone number for Clarissa, so I'll try email.
Is there any way Karen can vote? She is
No.
here every meeting.
No, she can't,
Okay.
unfortunately.
Hello?
It's
Yeah,
really
Mr.
bad.
Mr. Jalbert, just, we're trying to get another commissioner on the line.
Okay. They're trying, hey, Mark, are you on the line for the town? How come?
Folks, we're just waiting for
Okay.
another commissioner to get on the line so that we keep our quorum.
Okay. Yeah, but
I'm
what
sorry
happens,
about
Mark's
that.
in Poland. Mark's in Poland right now, and he said that he can hear you, but you can't hear him.
That's
A little bit.
That's
We heard
okay.
him. No, we heard him a little.
Well, hopefully,
Okay.
yeah, we're not trying to run up a bill.
Okay.
Okay, why don't we,
Yeah, I think Fred was out of town.
all right, anything from Dan?
No, I didn't text Hayden though.
All right, Mr. Jalbert,
Yes.
why don't I have you just update the board as to
Oh, here comes Clarissa.
okay.
Yay.
Yay,
Okay.
she should be there.
Right.
Are you ready?
Thank you.
Okay. Okay. The only thing we had to do from the last meeting, there was an omission done on the plan itself, which was the construction sequence. What we did is we changed the plan and put it under revision 3 on the 12th of this month with the construction sequence, which is on the right-hand side of the plan itself, which should be quite explicit. I think everything else is fine unless someone has any questions. I'll be happy to answer them.
Okay. Commissioners, comments on the construction sequence. I was not at the last, well, I was at the last meeting. I did miss this one. I have been caught up, so, Mary, I need to get you the, form.
All right, yeah, we'll need that. Yeah, so I think this construction sequence was emailed out previously, and the few commissioners I heard from thought it was okay. So unless there's anyone who didn't say what they thought, I believe this is probably ready to go through.
Yep. I think so. Everything looks good.
I found no issue with it.
Yeah.
All right. Any other commissioners? Comments on this?
We're good.
All right. All right, this was a public hearing, the last public hearing of the evening, so, any comments from the, public for 69 South Shore Road? Last call for comments from the public for 69 South Shore Road. Construction of a single-family home. Okay, can I get a motion to close the public hearing on 69 South Shore Road, please?
I'll make that motion.
Hello?
Hi, Mark.
Hold on. Hello?
Hey, this is Robert Russo.
Oh,
Hi, Mr. Russo.
I have some questions on a wall.
Okay, which wall?
The
In the
wall
upper
that,
left corner?
the wall that butts Bates Craver's land.
Okay,
How high is that wall roughly?
Bates Craver's land is on the opposite side, Mary, I think.
yeah, it is.
No, he's here.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, so I believe, Mr. Jalbert, correct me if I'm wrong, that this wall is 4 feet.
Oh, I think it was 4 feet.
Well, it actually goes 0 feet from South Shore Road down to the furthest extent, and at the furthest extent, it's 4 feet high.
Right, but it is sloping, right? It's not flat, like the land here is not
No.
flat.
No, it's actually sloping.
Yeah. And you can see the final grading marks here. So the road elevation is, approximately 494. And you can see that from the house and the road, it's sloping down to the wall, which is at 488, 487.
Is there gonna be a fence on top of that wall?
Not that I know of, no.
So someone could walk off that wall?
Well, the grades from the wall is basically I don't see how they could, they'd have to walk along the wall to fall off the wall, because that wall that just stands there. Then the grades on the left-hand side is down at 484, and the slope right there is, coming right out to that grade. They could walk off theoretically from the right-of-way side onto the other side, yes, which they'd have roughly 4 feet high.
Mr. Russo, a question like that has to go to planning, or it has to go to the building inspector. That's not our jurisdiction. I'm sorry.
Okay, what about on Bates's land? Is that gonna cause any flooding on Bates's land?
No, it won't.
How do you know that?
It's not containing any water whatsoever.
What happens on a heavy rain?
On a heavy rain, it'd go right where it's been going forever since. It just slopes down there to easterly, and it goes right along the right of way, then curves down towards the lake.
So your wall has, oh, that's the garage. There's the wall. So you do have drainage behind the wall though, right?
That is correct, yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, but on Bates's land, if water comes down his bank, and where's it gonna go?
Where it's been gone since forever. It keeps going in the same direction as it's doing right now.
Yeah, but there's a wall there now.
It'll be picked up by quite a
There's no
bit
wall
of
there now.
vegetation.
Well, you know what I mean, after you build a wall.
But the wall's not going all the way down. The wall is stopping, basically off the road, which is see, I don't have a scale with me, but it only comes 2.5 inches. So it's only about 25 feet long. That's all. And that property is 200 and something feet long. So it's.
So that wall from South Shore is gonna run into the banking where it rises up again?
No, it's gonna go down at the bottom of the bank, and the bottom of the wall at the end where the stairs start again is at 484, and that's the existing grade right there. And that grade is basically 4 to 6 feet lower than the adjacent property.
Okay, next question. Any other questions?
I'm all set.
Okay, any other questions from the public for 69 South Shore Road? All right, motion to close the public hearing on 69 South Shore Road. Was that Robin that was
Yeah,
making the motion?
Is
Okay,
everything,
Robin?
is everything comfortable with the neighbors? Everything set then? Yeah, so I make the motion.
Okay, Robin with the first. And do we have a second?
I'll second.
Clarissa with the second.
All right, Ms. Sherillo,
Yes.
Dr. Jewel,
Yes,
Ms. Johnson,
Yes.
Mr. Wigglesworth,
Yes, and I'm claiming the Mullen rule for catch-up. All right, Mr. Jalbert, always great talking to you. Thank you so much. Merrick, I know you're in Poland. I know you can hear us. Have a great time.
Mr. Chairman, we didn't vote on the order of conditions. I
Oh,
was just-
yes,
Oh, yeah,
that's
yeah.
true. Yes, sorry.
That's just a
Motion,
minor detail.
yes, that's the important part.
I know.
Motion to issue the order of conditions.
I'll make the motion to issue the order of conditions for 69 South Shore Road.
Thank you, Michelle.
Sure.
my second, as long as Mr. Jalbert has a vacation too.
Yeah.
Yeah, we insist.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, Ms. Cirillo,
Yes.
Dr. Jewel,
Yes.
Ms. Johnson,
Yes.
Mr. Wigglesworth.
Yes. All right. Thank you, folks.
Okay,
All right. Have a great evening.
and thank you. Have a good evening yourselves. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So moving along here, we've discussed Wawilla Road. We're on to 100 Lakeside Ave, COC. DEP number 323-1199. This was construction of a shed.
Guys, I gotta get back to class.
We need a vote. If we need a
We
vote.
will need you for the 2 more votes, and Dan's not on either. Yeah, Dan had said he could come on at 7.
Well,
I didn't
maybe
get
he
it.
knew that we had quorum, so he didn't plan on it, so this is.
Do we
counting
have,
on-
do we have folks in the public here waiting for these two?
Yes, I believe Mr. Kukacek is on.
I see
and-
him on.
Yeah,
and
yes, I am.
Patty is also on.
Clarissa, can we move, can you just hang like 5 minutes so we can just push these through?
All right.
Okay, all right. 100 Lakeside Ave. Mary, do you have photos, everything?
Yeah, so let me just pull that up. Yeah, so 100 Lakeside Ave, the shed looks great. He's got gravel around it.
Okay.
Very nice. The thing with this property is there was an RDA on this property earlier. There were 8
yep.
large pine trees that were removed. The stipulation on the RDA was for replanting of 8 trees. I've talked to the homeowner. He has put in, these shrubs here, and a bunch of other shrubs. I'm not sure exactly which ones along this whole area where the pine trees was. He did plant 1 tree. So he had told me he put in 13 shrubs. Is that right, Mr. Kukacek?
Yeah, actually, there's 14 of them.
Oh,
Those
14.
2 that you pointed to, 2 of them were magnolia trees I put in. And I don't know if you have a picture of, coming up there. I put in a specimen, a 4-inch diameter maple tree, and a beaver took it on me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we don't have 8 trees, but we do have many shrubs. And he does plan to try to replace this maple. Unfortunately, it must have been very expensive because it was a 3-inch caliper. And he's got fences along here now to try and keep the beavers out. Although I wonder if you want to wrap it with a chicken wire or something next time. I don't know.
Maples are good, but I mean, cedars would probably be better, Mr. Kukacek, because cedars like cedars, for some reason, the beavers they don't like that so much. It's sort of the last type of vegetation that they'll go after.
We have to look for that then. Although the maple tree was like perfect for shade that's why I put in a $1,000 tree, because I really wanted the shade there. And yet the beavers, as much as those fences I just put in 2 days ago, I have some mature arborvitae, and I saw part of it swimming away with a beaver 2 days ago. So he got past that fence somehow.
I would possibly talk to a nursery and see what they recommend.
Yeah.
So all right, so the shed is satisfied. He's put in several of the shrub plantings. He's going to continue to plant. How's the board feel on this one?
I mean, bad about the maple, but pretty happy about everything else.
He's probably gonna continue to battle a problem there. He did take down some very mature, huge pines. So Um,
I
Go
had,
ahead, questions?
I had recommended to him, because he has this natural shoreline kind of below his fence. You know, I don't know how much, maybe he can just let it grow as much as possible, then the beavers can go for that stuff. And that would add additional kind of protection to the shoreline and vegetation on the property.
Yeah, because I think I remember part of the end there was in, I think that was sort of flood zone too.
Yeah.
It's right across the bay. I can see that house we were talking about earlier with that. I'm literally across from him, 15
Yep.
Cedar Point.
Yep. Yeah. And that cove around the corner from him, that's where those guys are all bundled up. They're all living together.
Yeah, I can see that beaver house from my yard.
So
Beaver development.
the development, yes. So, all right. Do we, are we ready to issue the COC or what do we want to do? Yeah.
I'm okay with it. I thought.
Okay. All right, so motion to issue the COC for DEP number 323-1199, 100 Lakeside.
I'll make the motion.
Michelle with the first,
I second.
Robin with the second.
Ms. Cirillo.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. Dr. Jewell,
Yes.
Ms. Johnson,
Yes.
Mr. Wigglesworth.
Yes. All right, last one for you, Clarissa. 76 Killdeer Road. This is COC DEP number 323-1183. This is construction of a retaining wall.
All right, you guys will remember this is Patty Gatto's property.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Wall is in,
Wow, what a difference.
the fire pit is in with a little patio area. Grass looks great. So it was a little bit tricky on this edge here, but they covered it with stone. I think there's a better picture. Here we go. So that looks good. And tried to kind of stop this area where there's a potential for, the mulch to wash down. She has her Chapter 91 permit, so I think it's good. I mean, one of the conditions on the order was that the riprap should only be 2 feet wide. When the contractor put it in, he originally had a lot more. I know the contractor had him pull it out. I think it's reasonable for the wall.
I think that's fine because the riffle, as the riffles begin to come in, it starts to dissipate them.
Yeah.
So it's the way it is now. Just don't disturb it because you don't know what's now living in there. So
I like the creative use of loose stone.
Mm.
In that one section where it's a big stone and all the loose stone around it. Very creative. So I'm okay.
All right.
It's nice looking.
It is. Came out very nice, Patty.
Yeah, thank you.
I hope you're happy with it.
I'm very happy.
All right, so folks, motion to issue COC for DEP number 323-1183, 76 Killdeer Road.
I'll make the motion.
All right, Michelle with the first. And do we have a second?
I'll second.
Clarissa with the second.
Ms. Cirillo.
Yes.
Dr. Jewell.
Yes.
Ms. Johnson.
Yes.
Mr. Wigglesworth.
Yes. Okay, Clarissa, if you have to run, thank you very much.
Have a good night, everybody.
You
Good
too,
night.
thanks.
Good night.
All right, thank you, Patty. Enjoy the summer. Okay. All right. We are rounding out 8 o'clock, which is actually pretty good for the length here. We don't have most of the board. Do we want to cherry pick here? Or do we want to talk about most of this stuff? What do we want to do?
I don't think we can meet without quorum, can we?
We really shouldn't, but these are discussion items. So I would probably say that we probably shouldn't. And I would probably just say to Mary that, is there anything pressing that you want to talk about, Mary?
I'll just pull out my agent report.
I have a question, Mary.
Yeah.
With regard to that discharge, have they gotten you any new information? Have they taken the water samples? Have they actually begun the permitting process?
Yeah, so they have until May 1st to take care of change their discharge. They have not given me any information about water samples or anything yet.
And on May 1st, how do they intend to change their discharge?
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah.
Who's they?
This is 24 Point Pleasant, Joey. Remember the pipe that goes out to the lake?
And who is saying this?
So we voted
April 29th, the 30th.
last meeting. Yes, so they had said that what they had done is the lawyer had called after we sent their first letter, and the lawyer had said, yes, we're gonna try to get the appropriate NIPD's permit, and we're gonna get the water tested. But the water was discharging into the lake, so
nobody gets a NIPD's permit for their home.
I know, you know, Joey, I said that.
Nobody does
There's no
that.
such thing.
A NIPD's is if you put in a shopping mall.
Yep, no such thing. Because he said that they were looking for a groundwater discharge, and that's not for a homeowner.
I talked with my group, and my group said that we were in the right with doing a enforcement. Ted needs to go in there and say, hey, this isn't right, and it needs to stop.
In addition to the commission, because the commission.
Yes, because the Board of Health is supposed to take action because it's a discharge into a resource.
She already said she won't do anything though. She's been to the site.
So,
So what if someone goes to the Attorney General's office and complains about the town?
well, no, you'll get more leverage with having DEP come down and say, hey, put a pipe on that for now and throw it up on the lawn and let it go on the lawn. It can't go into a street and it can't go into a drain, but it can go onto a lawn like a typical,
Were you listening to the meeting last time without being there? That was the whole conversation we had. Exactly what you said, Joey.
I know, but
except that I've just learned something about NIPD's that we couldn't even have it with a single family, which makes perfect sense.
Do you even, I mean, you don't even know the cost of a NIPD's permit. It's like cost prohibitive for a homeowner.
Yep. Plus, you can't get that permit. That's why Henry Lane has done this consistently. He throws out, I don't know, what do you call them? Red herrings to delay. And I've looked, I oversaw the NIPD's permit for the whole Massachusetts Turnpike Authority. I could not find anywhere where you could get a NIPD's permit as a homeowner. It doesn't exist. No. So he's lying or he's uneducated.
No, that's why when I saw that, I was like, what a stall. I said immediately in my head, what a stall tactic.
Yeah, but that's unfair because the commission, several of us have been there. We have no idea what she's discharging. It could be harmless, but even if it is harmless, it's wrong and it's against the law. It needs to be stopped. Henry Lane needs to be put in his place that says, what permit are you applying for? Because I don't know of one that exists.
So. All
So,
right,
it's still going on. The discharge is still going on.
what was the date that we had asked for that to stop?
29th, I think.
Yeah, there was two dates.
It was the end of the month. We gave him 3 weeks.
That
That's
was 3 weeks ago, and then we gave them another couple of weeks.
What this
No,
is-
originally we only gave them a week and then now we've given them, yeah, till the end of the month.
Okay. So another few days.
Yeah.
All right.
It's really not that difficult, Joey. I mean, it is, resolvable. They're just not doing it.
It's just an incredible, if you think about it, I mean, a waste of
I know it.
time and money on,
Obvious.
And it's wrong.
and it is,
It
wrong,
is.
it really is. But we will, we have had battles before and we will continue to have them as long as there is an environment, and unfortunately it's the way it is. There are always players that play the counter, and we just have to, we've got to be savvy in our approach and argue our point. So and that's what we will do. We will just it's stressful, it's annoying. We just got to be careful with, it's emotional. What we do is emotional.
Yeah.
Definitely. So, but I understand everyone's frustration, but we gave someone a deadline, so we have to make sure that let's just see how this, we've seen people at the last, right at the, right at the end zone to do what we needed them to do. So let's see.
Joey, can I ask you another question?
Sure.
Okay. I redid my, because this year I'm up, and Mary had mentioned to do the redo online, bing, 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 to the selectmen. So I did mine. Now, do I have to do anything through you to get reappointed this year? Any through the commission?
Nope, I would just, I mean, usually they get in touch with you. So if they don't get in touch with you, they usually just automatically.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
That's typically how it goes. I mean, there was a different case a year ago. But I would, I would reach out to the, if you've
It
got
was about
questions.
3 or 4 weeks ago. That's all. I just said I did it right when April came, because like I said, Mary said that usually when they look at stuff in the
Yeah, I
year.
mean, we've got a new, they've got some things obviously going on, Rick
Right.
is getting acclimated and whatnot. I would probably just wait until that all,
Yeah.
probably
Okay.
settles.
All right, yeah, okay.
And then, ask, or just have Mary maybe send it on up and say, hey, what, are you gonna have Robin, reappointed? Do you want to interview her? Do you want to talk to her?
I think Clarissa's up this year and Fred is too.
Yeah, I think Robin, they usually take care of this May, June. Like I certainly know they vote on it in June.
Yeah, I
alright,
think
fine.
sometimes it's July. They wait till the next fiscal year, because it's a new fiscal year. So,
Okay, I'm just wondering. Okay, I just didn't know if you guys needed to do something, so. Because in my
Yeah.
opinion, there's something that should be done by our commission.
so,
Oh, I got to speak for myself. I think I've been faithful, earnest, honest, diligent. I've missed one
Attendance.
meeting.
Attendance.
Yeah, I've missed one meeting.
I will tell you that, no good deed has not gone unnoticed.
Okay.
Karen,
I'm glad you're thinking they're good deeds
Robin?
though, Joey.
Robin,
Yes.
Michelle, No good deed has gone unnoticed. And the person that runs the office, Moverholt at Webster-MA will tell you that.
Okay.
Mention it constantly. So,
Okay.
so we will, there's clearly things that we need to gain more. There's always room for improvement
That's it.
on
Well,
all
that-
fronts,
Yeah, right, yeah.
and
Yeah.
so, I appreciate everything that everyone does always. We just need to keep looking for ways to streamline, and be efficient.
You'll be happy with the new website.
And
Yes,
have
I'm looking
and have a
forward to
quorum.
seeing.
It's really, really like the two people tonight with that fella, seemed like a nice guy, Longo one. And then Tom Claybert, I talked with him, he goes, we're gonna have pictures. It's not gonna be a doodle that you can, but again, it'll be right there. But when I talked to the administrator over something else, and he said, well, the engineers and the builders should know certain things. It's true, but if you're paying them, I know I always wanna know, so I see what we're looking for, and it would save so much time and the back and forth. And I am involved with the community, and I hear these criticisms. So
You
I
gotta
think
also
that- I think-
remember too, on the flip side, there really should be, and Mary could probably find a really good one, that for those who do not get engineered plans, here's a great example of an unengineered plan, because
That's
some
a great idea.
some folks can't afford an engineer.
Yeah. Well,
And-
the NOI is clear on what it says on the state, and that's what I've been focusing on, and because that's the other thing. What are you coming to me for about state laws? Well, what are they gonna do? What are they gonna do? Like your favorite example, Joey. You got 5 people speeding, one goes 110, the other goes 90, but you did 75 and you get napped. Okay, that's enforcement. Okay, so these are the kind of questions I get a lot. So, but that's true, but what we're really focusing, Karen and me, and a little bit on state laws, be right there, but you're right, for RDAs, a plan that isn't, the only thing is that with the costs and stuff, people are always trying to look for that, but when we have to, enforce laws, we didn't make them. If somebody's that angry about laws, run against go run for office.
Yes, take it up with the legislature.
Right, yeah,
Fortunately, it's
yeah.
in the, the Wetlands Protection Act and the Conservation Commission Act were founded in back in 72.
Yeah.
And they gave towns and cities, which we're a home rule state. That's why we're called a commonwealth. Each city and town has their own way of conducting business. If you want, here's the state law and here's the federal law. You want to have something that's more stringent or added extra protections, then you enact a bylaw. So that's where you get that extra protection. So with regard to the RDA process and the NOI process, if you want that graphic that I showed in one meeting before, where here's I think it was for the Regis project, like they were trying to do an NOI project under an RDA and it just wasn't legal.
Yeah, right.
And RDA really is to determine a request to determine applicability. Are you in our jurisdiction, number one? And are you creating an alteration that is potentially, it's too big to condition. If it's conditionable, it really should go under the NOI. It's a notice of intent. I am intending on altering, and you need to put conditions on what I'm altering. You're conditioning my development. You're not necessarily prohibiting my development. you are conditioning it.
Mhm. Well, like I said, I think the new website will be clearer. And then what I do, and I just point, this is right there. And you can do it nicely, but they really shouldn't even be in front of us, because the gripe that I've heard from many people with fair power in the town, is the gripe is the back and forth. If it's
We
right
need
there,
to, I am hearing it more recently too, is that coming to a meeting and
prepared.
we're talking through it. And then, all right, we've come up with things, go back and do this, and then come back and then talking through it, and then more stuff comes up. We need to minimize that. If we missed it on the first time and it's not so significant, then, it really should be left off the second time around. Because it's a lot of money to go back to an engineer and have them re-engineer stuff.
Yeah,
Now-
but Joey, on that, Joey, I find, I've been around for almost a year. I find that people come to us so poorly prepared,
Well,
and they
that's it.
call
That's what I'm
themselves
talking about.
professional engineers, and I find that shameful and embarrassing. So it's not our job to
Oh, I know.
retrain these engineers. I mean, it's really unfair. But,
Absolutely.
I was in the administrator's office last week on my own stack of issues.
Mhm.
So he says, "Oh, you're on the Conservation Commission?" I said, "Yeah, I'm an alternate." And he said, I hear about people coming back several times. And I said, you know
He
what?
said the same thing to me.
I said, in my honest opinion, non-biased perspective, I don't think it's the commission's fault that people come back so much. I think it's their fault for being so poorly prepared when they show up.
But it is
So then-
our fault if we don't have it on the website.
Well, then he
I
said,
have to
well,
take ownership for my behavior.
So I'm sorry, I'm very uncomfortable with this conversation and continuing to talk without a quorum. So
Oh,
I'm gonna
okay.
leave.
Okay, sorry about that.
That's okay.
All right.
We had a few votes without a quorum.
Let's call
Yep.
this,
I didn't bother you.
let's call it a night at 8:18.
Good
All right,
night.
motion for
Nice.
adjournment.
Go
I
ahead,
motion we
Robin.
adjourn. I don't know if we can vote.
All right,
I motion we
all
adjourn.
right.
Everybody
Motion.
adjourns.
All right, good
Joey,
night.
you are funny.
Night.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night, good night.
Bye.
Bye.